Do you notice yourself worrying a lot and it's difficult to control your worrying? You may be affected by a condition known as generalized anxiety disorder, also known as GAD. And GAD is an anxiety disorder in which the person has a lot of difficulty controlling their worrying. They worry about a variety of different things. So maybe they're worried about their health, their partner's health, their kids' health, their dog's health, their job, their global warming. Their mind just kind of bounces around from one thing to the next that they're kind of worrying about. Muscle tension, headaches, stomach aches, unexplained pain. Those can be symptoms of generalized anxiety disorder. Also, fatigue, also difficulty with your sleep in terms of falling asleep and also waking up too early. In other words, symptoms of insomnia. Also, irritability is a very common symptom of anxiety. A lot of people don't recognize that, but if you're very anxious, you're going to be keyed up and tense, and you're going to be much more easily triggered if you're in that state. And so irritability is much more common for people that have generalized anxiety disorder than for other people. So if you find yourself affected by generalized anxiety disorder or just worry that you're having a hard time controlling, you can practice a skill in cognitive behavioral therapy known as thought stopping. And thought stopping is interrupting the thoughts that you're having, just stop. I clap my hands together. Some people see a stop sign or hear the word stop. Some people wear a rubber band around the wrist and snap that. But the key is to abruptly stop. And then what you do after that is redirect your mind to something else. You have to distract yourself with something else. That's the key, is the redirect to something else. If you just try to stop a thought or try to push down a thought without giving you something else to focus on, it will have the opposite effect than you want. It will actually make you think about it more. They did some experiments back in the 70s where they would say to people in the experiment, you can think about whatever you want for the next 15 minutes, just don't think about white bears. And then 15 minutes later, the researchers would ask people to write down what they've been thinking about, and needless to say, people reported they were thinking about white bears. And the reason for that is as we try to push a thought down, it's obviously taking our attention, and because we're trying very hard to not think about it, it's making us think about it. So it doesn't work. So we're not going to do thought suppression, we're going to do thought stopping. So again, you abruptly stop, see a stop sign, hear the word stop, stop, and then redirect your mind to something else. Come up with some things you can redirect your mind to, some things that you can quickly focus your mind to get out of your head and get into your life. The things that I use for my go-to is always, what have you got to do right now? Because I have three jobs and a podcast and two dogs and my son and my family, and friends. I always have a lot to do. So that's my redirect. If my mind wants to get stuck in problem solver mode, which is what I call it, anticipating problems that will probably never happen, but my mind wants to create something to kind of chew on. It wants to think about things, analyze things, come up with solutions so that if that problem happens, I can avoid it. That's a great skill to have in life. It's allowed us to survive as a species, is to be in problem solver mode and be analytical about what's happening so that we don't make mistakes that can be deadly. that's a really important skill for us to have, but it can go too far and you can get stuck in problem solver mode to such an extent that you're using your imagination to create things that may never happen or probably won't ever happen. One trap that a lot of people fall into with anxiety and worry is that if you ask them, if is that a possibility, that thing that you're worrying about, what are the chances of it actually happening? And they'll say it's a possibility, it could happen. But think about it from the standpoint of what are the actual chances of it happening. So, a few years ago, I had to have major surgery, and one day I woke up and needed to do some things, some preparation before I went into the hospital for the surgery because I was going to be resting and healing quite seriously for about a week. And so I needed to put my dogs in the kennel and have them boarded for a week. And one day I woke up and just decided I'm going to go ahead and call the vet and get this taken care of, even though I hate the thought of my dogs not being with me for a week. I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I did it and I hung up the phone, and I was really proud of myself for getting that out of the way and checking the box there, knowing that they had some place to go when I had surgery, which was a relief. But then my magical magnifying mind wanted to create things to worry about. So naturally, because it's major surgery, my this I had this intrusive thought about, what if I die? What if I die? I won't be able to pick my dogs up. If I'm not able to pick my dogs up, the vet's office is going to let the dogs go in the street. What if the dogs go out in the street? They're going to get hit by a car. I mean, the insanity, I just watched it happen. Thank goodness I used my Teflon mind to just see it happening. Didn't get attached to any of those feelings or thoughts about it, and just immediately stopped myself from going down this road because it was a surgery that was routine. I had a good team of medical experts that were going to be there working on me. I was at a hospital, so if anything were to happen, that would be a good place for it, to get help if I needed it. Uh, if it was such a risky surgery, they wouldn't do it. So I reminded myself of that as well. And that thing that I was worried about happening all of a sudden didn't feel like such an immediate threat anymore. I realized that I was in good hands and the chances of something going wrong were actually very small. So, yes, was it possible that I wasn't going to make it through the surgery? Sure. Was it probable? No. So I let it go. So, asking yourself, what is the probability of this happening, can help you to get grounded and back in reality to help you let go of those worrisome thoughts. So, try practicing the thought stopping and considering the probability of events. See if that helps you with your worry. And remember, with the thought stopping, it's like doing reps with weights. So the more often you have to practice the thought stopping, the better. That will help the brain change happen faster because you're just strengthening that neural pathway. Every time you practice thought stopping, stop, redirect your mind to something else, and before long you'll be doing it automatically. As soon as you start to worry, you will quickly redirect your mind and get out of Dodge and not go down that path. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope you heard something that will be helpful to you. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, and sharing. I appreciate all of your support. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day.